Budget debates begin today. Drunk Essequibo ferry captain faces suspension. 2 remanded for robbing a man of his gun and belongings. And why the Cybercrimes Act is an assault on free speech. I'm Enrico Pulford and this is Uncut News. Do you see news happening? Send us a tip on WhatsApp at 592-659-6151. Today marked day 1 of the debates for the 2022 national budget. As expected, there was much grandstanding, exaggeration, and general rumshot behavior. All of which, to be completely honest, is pointless, seeing as we all know the government is going to use its one-seat majority to pass this budget, just as every other government before this one has done. But again, that too should be expected, given the fact that our Constitution effectively renders Parliament into a rubber stamp for the executive arm of the government. So, given the relative powerlessness of the position, I guess it should be no surprise why all the MPs seem to treat the place like a rum shop. On Sunday, the PNC voted down a motion to remove Harman from Parliament to make way for Norton. 31 of the 35 Central Executive Committee members spoke about the motion, while the others remained silent. And, in the end, they decided not to act on the motion. Meanwhile, the PNC hopes that this could be resolved before the budget debate ends on Friday, as typically, the opposition leader is the second to last speaker. Continuing with the rum shop shenanigans, today, House Speaker Mansour Nadir shot down the opposition's motion to send 22 government parliamentarians to a parliamentary disciplinary committee for their raucous behavior in the National Assembly. Nadir said that, quote, "You cannot bring a legal action for an illegal action in the first place." This comes days after he approved a government-sponsored motion for 8 opposition parliamentarians to be sent to the Privileges Committee for their part in the debacle on December 29th. You know how every Friday evening I always tell you not to drink and drive? Well, 38-year-old Jermaine Blackman decided to take it to a next level, so of course, we have to make fun of him. The captain of the Essequibo ferry, the MV Malali, is currently facing suspension from his job after he was found drinking and boating. Police headquarters released 2 videos on Monday with the captain being administered a breathalyzer test with a reading of 141 mc, which is at least 35 micrograms of alcohol above the legal limit. The police said the captain was on duty and was en route to Le Guan when he was tested. Fortunately, he didn't crash the boat because, my gosh, that would have been terrible. Now it's time to tell you about Best Buy's car of the day. Currently on sale is his 2016 Mazda CX-5. It comes with Bluetooth, mug rims, new tires, TV, CD, LED fog lamps, electronic parking brake, back camera, side camera, rear spoiler, and much, much more. Buy cash for $6.2 million. All paid down as low as $1,240,000 down with around $120,000 monthly for 5 years, and it's yours. Call or WhatsApp 662-0844 for more info. Or visit the showrooms at Lot 171 Bidderoshi, Queenstown, or Lot 2 Lamar Street, and tell Enrico sent you to get in on this sweet deal. Over on the west side, a man was arrested early this morning after he was caught trying to rob the Bagotville post office on the West Bank. At around 3 a.m., a party of policemen found that an external wooden wall of the building was broken, and eventually they found the man hiding in one of the rooms of the building. What he was doing in there, we have no idea. One could assume that he was maybe trying to steal some pension checks. I don't know. Anyway, he's currently in police custody. 7 men from Westbury, Essequibo Coast, have been jointly charged after they threw objects at the police during the January 19th protest in Dartmouth, Fort Orrin, Boston. 26-year-old Mark Grant, 18-year-old Ravindra Singh, 49-year-old Bentley George, 23-year-old Eaton George, Kevin Singh, Quincy Abrams, and 25-year-old Ian Fordyce were all accused of having done this act on Friday, January 21st. Bentley George and Mark Grant were placed on $10,000 bail each, while the rest were granted $5,000 bail. As a condition for bail, the men were ordered to remain in their home between the hours of 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., which honestly is very understandable and reasonable given their accused crime. The main suspect in the recent fire at the GPHC has been fired, with immediate effect, after the hospital's management found that he was guilty of, quote, gross misconduct, end quote, following a sexual harassment investigation. The doctor previously worked in the cardiology department, the same one that went up in flames but he was sent on leave on December 31st, 2021, after a female subordinate complained that he was sexually harassing her via telephone calls and messages. And one day after, on New Year's Day, the fire devastated the hospital. His hearing was on Friday, and he was fired. However, the investigation for the fire is still ongoing. Well, if the fire was a distraction, then it clearly didn't work.
Hey, I'm interrupting this program to let you know that not all truck parts are created equal. Some does work hard without any problems for a long time, while others does make your truck broke down quick and got you running your pockets again. Get genuine high-quality parts from Powered Automotive Truck Spares and Engine Parts and extend the life of your repair. They're the authorized dealer in Guyana for Hammer USA products like brake valves, clutch discs, universal bearings, and others. Visit them at 1161 EE Eccles or call them on 697-0171. Powered Automotive, the #1 truck and engine parts store in Guyana. If you didn't know, well, now you know.
2 men were on Monday remanded to prison for allegedly robbing a man of his licensed firearm and other valuables while he was walking along Water Street in Georgetown. 31-year-old Dion Cromwell and 26-year-old Sion Maynard denied ambushing and robbing Randall Singh of 1 pistol, his gold jewelry, and $631,000 cash. They were remanded to prison until February 28th. It's now time for today's Runner Report. Today, the nation recorded 86 new cases. There are now 1,186 persons dead, 11 in the ICU, 10,898 in home isolation. And the total number of confirmed cases around the nation now stands at 59,889. So please, people, wash your hands frequently. Avoid touching your nose and mouth and mask up before you leave the house. When you do leave home, try to avoid enclosed spaces and large crowds. And remember to give 6 feet of space between you and others. You know what I think is stupid? The cybercrime bill. You already know I've been complaining for years about how it's an infringement of free speech. Since even before the first arrest was made under the law in 2020, I declared that it would be used as a tool to silence dissent and would be unfairly applied. Fast forward to 2 years later, and now this online brand is the latest victim of this ignorant and half-baked law. Worse yet, it is being used as a means of revenge for a well-connected, poor-spelling former journalist with a lisp. So, instead of contacting Mud directly through the public number we provide in every video, the police force spent the past week harassing and detaining anyone they believed was connected to the Guyana Uncut brand as a means of intimidation, just because they know they can. And it was clearly done after the direct instigation of said lisp-having former journalist who likes to wear tight pants. And now the media has run with the story the police gave them. Not because this story is true, but because they're too lazy to investigate as to whether or not the information they were given was even correct. And I will be the first one to tell you that these police will lie to you in a heartbeat. Remember the Henry boys? We're really supposed to believe that junkie Sanchara actually killed those boys? Lies. So, I won't disclose exactly what's going on behind the scenes for obvious reasons over here. But I hope that all that you've seen so far is enough to show you what I mean when I say that the independent media in this country is dead. Objective reporting is nearly impossible when nearly every single news outlet in Guyana exists solely as race party propaganda and a place for advertisers to shield their crappy, overpriced imported products and poorly delivered services. All of this is to say that we the people need to abuse your government and tell them that you want the law struck down. Making fun of a public figure should never be a criminal offense, and if you disagree with this premise and think it should be a criminal offense, then you are pretty stupid. Take a look at this beauty being constructed in a gated community called Richmondville in Guyana. It features 4 bedrooms, 1 pool with 7,000 square feet of living space, along with modern amenities. Contact Sheriff Construction on 592-618-5702. Now for our Uncut News Viewers Poll Question of the Day. Every day we pose a question about current events in Guyana, the region, the diaspora, and how you feel it relates to us. Our latest question was about the $2,000 bill, and we wanted to know how you feel about it. Barefoot Wanderer said, printing money usually means inflation. The more you have, the less it is in value, but we shall see. I mean, my thoughts exactly. Rio says, as a small business owner, I feel that the dollar bill is a waste of time, considering that when you go to the banks, you can never get $500, $100, and $20 bills for change. How about they solve the problem staring them in the face instead of one that doesn't even exist? You know, that really seems to be a general trend around here, solving problems that don't even matter, but not solving the ones that should be addressed. Gitsa Ripper says it's interesting that that denomination was chosen when they really thought that a $10,000 bill would make more sense. Guyanese Steel Orchestra says the new note is nonsense. What good would this note do for the economy? Nothing if you ask him. However, Ozzy D says it the best. Ozzy D says instead of doing all that mess and spending money on buying more money, they should just go and take that money and modernize our current electronic banking system. And you know what? I agree with that 100%. So before we get to tonight's question, you can multiply your cash by selling Digicel Top-Up. This is a legit way you can earn some extra money at your business or to supplement your current hustle. Become a top-up vendor quick and easy through Cellular Plus. Call them on telephone number 685-3109 for more info. So for tonight's question, I want to know, what do you think is the single largest issue affecting Guyana today? Well, for me, it's the death of free speech. Well, obviously. But I want to hear from you. Think about that question and tell us in the comments below. If your response is good enough, we just might feature it in our next episode. Anyway, that's all the time we have for tonight, and check us out tomorrow for another. Until then, I'm Rico Pulford saying, defend free speech, or it will be taken away from you. Hey, Uncut News viewers, thanks for watching. You can subscribe by clicking on this button over here, or click over there for more news. You can also drop a comment to let me know if you've made it to the end of the video. Goodbye for now.